We also have Lwendo Kambole, who is also a Chevening alumni for the 2018-2019 intake. He completed his master's in refugee studies from the University of East London and is currently a lecturer from the Copperbelt University. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program.
Thank you, Salome.
Thank you, Salome.
Okay, I can see that Gordon is ready. You can just start. If there's anything I've left out in introducing you, you can start with that and also just take it away with your presentation. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Salome. Yeah, no, I think everything is clear. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this presentation where Lwendo and I share some tips on how to prepare a successful application for Chevening Scholarship. Okay, so my presentation this evening is divided in 3 sections. So in the first section, I'm going to talk about Chevening scholarships in general. Then I'll talk about persuasive writing, and I'll talk about writing structures and styles. I also prepare some activities, but I don't think we're going to do that due to time constraints. Then, as already mentioned, I'm here with my colleague Lwendo. He'll provide me with the moral support in this presentation. Okay, so by now, I'm sure that you've reviewed the Chevening Scholarship application, and I'm sure by now you are familiar with the requirements. I'm sure you understand what the goal of Chevening Scholarship is, and that is to prepare outstanding emerging leaders for the future. So as you prepare your application, you must communicate how you fit in this goal. If you look at the billboard in the background, you'll see words like I'm ambitious, I'm enthusiastic, I'm fearless. You know, these are very important qualities for a leader. And of course, there are other more, which you must communicate in your application, because Chevening Scholarship is about preparing leaders for the future. All right, so before we even go further, it's important that we review the eligibility criteria. And also, it's important that in your personal application, before you even start being to write those essays, it's important that you understand what the requirements are, and you know that you qualify to apply for a Chevening Scholarship. The good news with a Chevening Scholarship is that there is no upper age limit. So as long as you're 18 years and above, you are welcome to apply for Chevening Scholarship. Then of course, you must be a citizen of the Chevening Scholarship eligible country or territory. So in the Chevening application too, there is somewhere where you're supposed to type the name of your country. And if you're eligible, if your country is eligible, it's going to come. But also very importantly, and I know that most people overlook this, is that you must review the UK cooperation agreement with your country. And this information is in public domain. It's, for example, you can go on UK in Zambia website or UK in Malawi website, UK in Ghana website. You are going to find this information. So your application must be tailored along the strategic objectives of the UK cooperation agreement with your country. So for example, if the strategic objectives are in the areas of nutrition, then you go and make an application. For example, you apply for an MSc in astronomy. Chances are that you might not be successful because it's not in line with the cooperation agreement with your country. So this is very important. Make sure that you look at this piece of information, and it's in public domain. You can easily find this information. Then, of course, you must have a minimum of an upper second class bachelor's degree, or what we commonly call in Zambia a merit, or in other countries it's called class 2.1 honors degree. So that's the minimum requirement. Then you must have a minimum of 2 years work experience, or what is translated into 2,800 hours. And this can be full-time job, part-time job, voluntary work, as long as you're able to quantify and provide evidence that you did this work, then you should be good to go. Then, of course, you should also be able to secure a conditional offer at an eligible university in the UK. I'm sure if you've looked at the application too, you're supposed to make, to provide 3 options. So there's the first option, second, and third. And most likely, if you are picked in the first option, and that's where your scholarship will be tenable. Then, of course, it's also important that you must have not studied in the UK on the UK government scholarship. You could have studied in the UK quite all right, but not on the UK government scholarship. If you studied on the UK government scholarship, then unfortunately, you would not qualify. All right, so what are the key requirements? So as already communicated in the Go, Chevening Scholarship is about preparing future leaders. So you must be ambitious, and in your application, you must demonstrate that you're ambitious. You must demonstrate your leadership qualities. You must demonstrate passion for change. You must also prepare a very clear career plan. And of course, you must demonstrate that you are capable of completing an MSc in the UK. And that's why they're demanding that you must have a minimum of a merit for you to apply for a Chevening Scholarship. And in summary, basically, you just have to be ambitious, you must be passionate, you must be idealistic, you must be influential, you must be a leader in your own right. So these are the key qualities that you must communicate in your application, and make sure that you provide solid examples of these qualities. All right, so at this moment now, I'll transition to persuasive writing. And basically here, I'll look at what is known as rhetoric, or the art of persuasion. And I'll look at a famous philosopher, Greek philosopher by the name of Aristotle. Some of you may know him. So according to Aristotle, for you to convince someone, there are 3 conditions that you must meet. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because as you are preparing your application will be reviewed by someone. And you must be able to convince that person that your application deserves selection, because you'll be competing with more than maybe 50,000 other applicants. So your application must stand out. So it's important that you persuade the reader to select your application. And according to Aristotle, the first thing, or the first condition that you must meet in order to convince someone or to persuade someone is that you must demonstrate that you are credible. So in your application, if you are a teacher, you are a lawyer, you are a social worker, whoever you are, you must communicate credibility in your application. Then, of course, your writing must also be logical. And this is what Aristotle calls logos. So we are going to talk about writing structures, and that's the reason why I've prepared some writing structures and styles. It's because of this requirement. So as you prepare your application, make sure that you communicate in a very logical way, logical and coherent way, because your application really must be strong for it to be considered. Then the last condition that you must meet for you to convince or persuade someone is that you must appeal to their emotions or interests. And in this case, we understand what the interests of our readers are. We know that they are looking for those qualities that I've mentioned. Those are the interests of the people who will be assessing your application. They want to see that you are ambitious. They want to see that you're passionate for change. They want to see your leadership qualities. So those are the qualities that you should communicate in your application. And Aristotle calls this pathos. So these are the three conditions, ladies and gentlemen, that you must meet for you to persuade someone or for you to convince someone. Okay, I'll skip this. Then I'll go to writing structures. I don't know, Salome, if there are questions, maybe we can just answer them at the end of the presentation. I can see in the chat that there are 4 messages. I don't know if there are questions, but maybe you can just take note, then maybe we'll answer them at the end of the presentation.
Yes,
okay, so
we'll be able to take the questions at the end of the presentation. So people can just, you can just write your questions and then we'll be able to take them when the 2 gentlemen are done with their presentations.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so now let's look at 2 different writing structures or styles, which most of us, including you, do, but sometimes we don't know that we actually write according to these structures. So if according to Aristotle, when we talked about ethos, you can see it in the first requirement here. So the 5 W's, so the first W is who. So we are talking about who, what, when, where, why. So who is making the application? Who are you? So you must be able to introduce yourself. You must be able to write about yourself. And you must write about yourself in a fancy way. This is not the time to be very humble, unfortunately. This is the time to be a bit, what word can I use? A bit fancy, you have to boast a little bit about yourself. So who are you? So that's the first W. What do you do? So that's the next W, the what part. What do you do? Are you a teacher? Are you a lawyer? Are you an engineer? What do you do in your profession or at your place of work? When? So here you're talking about work experience, or when actually you did the work. Where exactly, where do you work? Is it in the government of the Republic of Zambia? Which district? Is it in Mongo? Is it? So that's the where part. Why? Why do you do the work that you do? What's the purpose of your work? What change are you bringing to the people? Are you contributing to making the world a better place, to making your community a better place? So that's the why part. What's the impact of your work? So that is the last W. In other formulations, they even include an H. So they call it 5 W's and 1 H. And the H is the how part. How exactly do you do what you do? So this is the structure. And I know that if you go back to your essays and you critically look at your essays, you are going to see that you've been following this structure. And if you haven't been following, it's important that you start following this type of writing structure. Okay, so if you've looked at the application 2, it's divided in 4 sections. The first section is on leadership and influencing. Second one is on networking. Third, studying in the UK. And lastly, career plan. And you can apply the 5 W writing structure in all these 4 sections. So for example, leadership and influencing, who are you? Are you a teacher, doctor, project manager? What roles, what are your roles? What responsibilities, duties do you hold at your place of work? Where do you work? When do you work? What's your work experience? Why? What's the purpose of your work? You can also apply this to networking. You can apply to this. You can apply this writing structure also to studying in the UK. So for example, if you look at 3, studying in the UK, of course, first you are going to talk about who you are, then what program of study do you want to do, which universities, that is the where, which university you want to start from, when, and that will be next year up to that is 2022, 2023. Why have you chosen that university? So you should be able to give reasons why you've chosen that university. Then you can also apply that to the career plan. It it fits perfectly well. The other writing structure, which again, most of us do, unwittingly maybe, but I know that most of us do write according to this structure, is what we call the STAR structure. So the first S is the situation. So we have situation, task, action, and result. So the situation basically is the environment that you're operating in. I'll give an example. For example, COVID-19 breaks out in 2020. So that's the situation that we're operating in. So we're operating within a situation of a global pandemic. Then what's the task? The task is that we develop an emergency response plan or emergency response project to COVID-19. So that is the task that you've been given. Then action. Action are the specific activities that we're going to do in order to respond to this emergency situation. So for example, some activities could involve distributing face masks, hand washing sanitizers, hand washing basins, providing information to the people. Those are the specific actions that, or activities that we did in order to respond to the situation. Result, what was the result of those activities? Maybe it could be that we managed to reduce the spread of the disease in community X, and we're able to provide evidence of that. So that is the other writing structure. So when you, for example, you write about your leadership qualities, you should be able to provide one good example, maximum two. Don't provide too many examples. One is okay, it's fine, but the maximum you can go is two. So you provide two good examples demonstrating your leadership qualities, then you can follow this situation. So if you claim to have done, for example, this activity, in what situation were you operating, what was the task, or what was the responsibility which you were given, what specific activities did you do, and what was the result of the work that you did. So it's important that you communicate in such a logical structure. And this is what rhetoric, according to Aristotle, is all about. It's about communicating in a very logical, concise manner. And that's when we can convince the reader to select our work. Okay, so I want to end on the career plan, which is the last part of the application. So this section, you are asked to provide a clear career plan. And it's important that you divide your career plan in three sections. So there's a short term, the medium term, which you can also call the intermediate. Then there's also the long term career plan. So for example, immediately you arrive from your studies, you come back to Zambia. What activities are you going to do? So those are the short-term plans, and you have to clearly communicate. So for example, if you did not resign at your place of work, most probably you'll go back to your place of work and you continue doing what you were doing. And maybe you see that you have outgrown that position, you are not being promoted. Then, for example, if you're a lawyer, you can think of establishing a law firm. So that's the medium term. So you establish this law firm and you start managing that law firm. Then in the long term, it could be that maybe you want to become Chief Justice, or you aspire to become the Speaker of Parliament or National Assembly. Long term is a very big goal that you must provide. So that's how you are supposed to divide your career plan. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of my presentation. Lwendo, please feel free to come in and just add if there's anything that I have left out. Thank you.
Okay. Salome, can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gordon, for a wonderful presentation. I think you've covered most of the information that the applicants need to know. I'm going to add a few things, some of which you have already touched on, just to expand on certain elements within the Chevening journey, the application journey. So, okay, maybe to start with, I want to speak to the applicants themselves. To start with, maybe I share with you, you could have already, read about this, in terms of what Chevening Scholarship offers. The first and maybe the most important thing to some of us is the stipend, the monthly stipend that the scholarship will give you. Okay, you need to survive in the UK. For some of you that will be in London, you need to survive in London. Quite expensive. I was there. I was in London myself. And you get a higher stipend. During my time, I think we used to get during our time, Gordon, you can help me on this as well. I think for us who are in London, we used to get £1,300. For I think those outside London, the stipend was about 1,000, I think 1,000 plus, somewhere around. Yeah. So there's this difference between those in London, those outside London, because of how expensive life is in London. Okay, so for some of us, that was the first motivation, which made us work so hard to write essays, persuasive essays, like my colleague has touched on, like he has explained on what really is persuasive writing. So you need, if someone reads your essays, they will have to be shaken in a way. You need to, drive them to something. Okay, it's not about trying. It's about what your read is. Tell your story. Okay, so stipend, first thing, some of us, that was the first motivation. Secondly, an international qualification. You go in the UK, you bring it back here. If you work for the police, you submit it to the police. It will add value to you. If you work in the health sector, you produce that qualification from the United Kingdom, it will add a lot of value. Okay, whichever sector, you are a lawyer, you are a teacher, you are in whatever. Okay, so that was the second motivation to me, at least. Okay, thirdly, just flying, because some of us were flying to the UK for the very first time. That should motivate you as well. When you sit, you start thinking of how you are going to write your winning essay. That those things that I've mentioned should be at the back of your mind. Okay, so I need to get this. For your own information, Chevening Scholarship is a highly competitive. But the good part is you can get it. I got it. Gordon got it. Other colleagues got it. We are increasing in number. Okay, so you can get it as well. There's no doubt about that. Okay, then my colleague, I'm sure he touched on the English requirements. During our time, we had to write IELTS, but the past, I think since COVID started, there is an exemption. But when you apply to universities, some of them will ask, if not all of them, will ask you for those English tests. So at some point you have to do them. If you not do them, you are lucky. Okay, some of us did them. So, but again, to work around certain universities that will require English language tests, you can go to your former university, let that university write you a confirmation that you did your degree in English. That would be, I think, sufficient. I did that to the university I went to. I went to the University of East London. I did the same when I was applying at the University of Birmingham, King's College. So I had offers in all the three, and just Salome, I don't know how much time I need. I mean, you have given me, maybe just an idea.
You can go ahead. We have this program. It's supposed to run for an hour, so we still have time. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that is about English language. So you need to prepare. And English language, you ask people that have done those, they are not as easy as drinking water, at least to some of us. But we struggled, and we managed, to get the English results. Okay. And then again, when you travel to the, sorry. Okay. So Chevening, not only giving you an opportunity to get a stipend, that kind of a thing, it will give you an international exposure. So some of you, if you are interested, you have an opportunity to attend to certain conferences. For example, those that we used to call bands night. You go to Cumberland Lodge. There are a number of things you can get involved in. Debate. In some of the universities. Scholarship, including internship. Some of the colleagues that have been to the UK have had an experience working with BBC, for example, and other organizations that would be willing to take up interns. Okay, other opportunities you are going to have. I'm speaking like this just to give you some kind of a motivation. Why should you sit there and struggle to write the winning essays, the persuasive essays, in order for you to travel to the UK? Okay, for people who are like me, excited, to visit, stadiums, for example, Manchester, you have all these opportunities. And if you are like me, you also go to number 10 Downing Street, okay, where you just go and see, okay, where does the Prime Minister lives? That is part of, even when some of us come from certain families where no one has traveled abroad. That should give you an added attention to applying for Chevening Scholarship. Other things I want to talk about before we get to the to the questions that I'm sure you have asked. Okay, I want to talk more about the four areas where questions come from. You need to understand those things. What does it mean to be a leader, for example? Okay, what about networking? Okay, what about studying in the UK? What about the career plan? Okay, so in terms of leadership, first of all, what is this leadership? Who is a leader? Okay, because leadership, to many of us, we may think, okay, to be a leader is to be like Chishimba Kambwili, who was a member of parliament in Loni, constituency, that kind of, forgive me for those that are, joining from abroad, outside Zambia. I may have to use local examples. Maybe to some extent, I may use international examples that, can benefit everyone. Okay, so what is leadership? Okay, so we need to understand it's not about, okay, I need to be probably, the president of the union in the university, that kind of, yes, that is leadership. But what about those that have never been, in those circles? How are they going to define leadership? Okay, if you are a lawyer, for example, okay, you take an initiative where someone has been a woman, for example, is having challenges in terms of access to justice, you take up that role, represent that a victim, free of charge. You have taken leadership. So would define that as leadership. And for your own information, as you write the essays, you are telling your own stories, what you have experienced. No wonder the scholarship calls for 2 years experience minimum. Obviously, in that 2 years, you would have achieved something as a leader, or at least show some leadership potential. Okay. What other things can I talk about? Okay, and then what other things? Okay, so again, when you apply for the university, remember at some point you have to provide unconditional offer. Okay, no strings attached, no conditions. It has to be unconditional. So how do you increase the chances for having those unconditional? So you need to apply. You need to start applying for universities simultaneously. Okay, apply to as many as possible. Some of you wanted to go to Cambridge. Some of you want to go to Oxford. Some of you want to go to King's College. These top universities in the UK. Yes, we need to aim high, but very competitive. Sometimes it's difficult to get an offer, in these universities. So the strategy should be aim for those in the middle. Sometimes again, you can apply to these lower ranked universities in the UK. The good part is that you will graduate from a university in the UK. It's a serious achievement. Remember, United Kingdom boasts itself, for a very good education system. At least we went there, had the chance, to be taught by renowned professors. So when you come back, you still shine. If you will not have an unconditional offer at some point, when Chevening will request for that, I am afraid you may lose your scholarship, because you would have failed to present an unconditional offer. We have seen people that have run, like running, sweating, desperate, to get an offer, because they were not proactive in terms of looking for an offer. You are interviewed, you get the scholarship, but no offer. So you'll be cut off. So you need to apply for universities now. You need to start doing that, so that at least you have an offer, and apply to as many as you can. And many universities, again, some of them, I should mention, they do charge an application fee. Okay, so if you have the money, okay, apply, pay. If you don't have money, like me, who didn't have money at the time I was applying for universities, you target those that do not charge an application fee. It will help you, okay? Because if there are universities that in which you can apply for free, why waste that money, 2,000, 1,000, whatever that they may charge? That is in Zambian kwacha. So you can target those that are not charging the application fee. Maybe for now, let me end here. I'll come in again as we try to answer questions. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lwendo and Gordon, for those many insights that we have gotten. As at now, I can start reading out the questions. The first one comes from Jacob. Says, besides providing the IELTS to show English proficiency, does Chevening also accept TOEFL? I think I'll read 3 questions, then you can start with those, then we can read other ones. The next question comes from Rebecca. Should we be applying for admission at the same time as we are doing the Chevening application? And another one comes from Mark Chanda. I tried to make an application to the UK for my master's studies. Most things went very well except the part for references, which failed terribly. What are the best ways and strategies to collect reference letters from our former lecturers and work supervisors who are sometimes very difficult to help? Maybe you can start with those 3 questions. Any of you can pick it up and choose which question you would like to answer.
Lwendo, you can go first.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm happy that's just a quick announcement. Tandiwe is in the house. She's 2019 in 2020 Chevening scholar. So at some point we may have to invite her to just say 1 or 2 things or support us as we answer questions. We tried to invite people that are going to the UK this September, but I can't see any. Okay. Okay, we go back to the questions. So, okay, let me start with references. Here's another thing. Look, some of you have applied for this scholarship a number of times, and you keep going to the same referees. Help me with this reference. Help me, even them, they are tired. Okay, it happens. Okay, applying for Chevening. Maybe let me touch on this before I proceed. Okay, Chevening again requires people who will not give up. If you are what is the English, heart fainted, whatever, you know, some of you who know English very well. Okay, Chevening is not for you. That one I can assure you. So you need to be tough. I have colleagues that have applied for Chevening Scholarship a number of times, as long as 4 times. But the 4th time they got it, they went and they came back. Okay, there's a time, especially when Chevening starts responding to you, telling you whether or not you have been shortlisted for interviews. Is total darkness for a lot of our colleagues. So you need to be strong. You really need to be strong. So applying many times, I can share a lot of experiences. For example, my first application, not for Chevening, other scholarships. In 2012, rejected. 2013, rejected. 2014, rejected. 2015, I got my first ever scholarship, and not a full scholarship, not for a master's, but for a postgraduate. Okay, I went to Spain, came back, I shined from my family. I flew. Some of you are used to flying. You know, in certain families like our families, if you fly, you come back and they have a meeting. I can assure they will not start that meeting until you are there, because you flew the first time. Okay, so take advantage for some of you that have such families like me. Okay, so you need to be tough. You apply for Chevening, it will fail. Apply for other scholarships, maybe it will fail. Continue applying. That dream, if you persist, it will come. I can tell you that at some point, I applied for this scholarship, they accept. I applied for this scholarship. When I was going for Chevening, for example, I had 2 scholarships because of endurance. So we need to endure. Don't give up so easily. Okay, back to references. Okay, because I was trying to connect, applying many times and requesting, and I'm happy. The person who, sorry, I forgot the name. The person who asked the question is sympathetic to, like, beg. You literally have to beg for referees to help you with a reference. So first of all, the target are your supervisors at work. Okay. Secondly, those that taught you in the universities. Sometimes even okay, if you do consultancies, for example, you can request, you know, them. But I think the key should be those that know your academic standing, as well as those that know your professional standing. So the way you do it, the way I did it, the way other people do it, you talk to them, you do a sample. People are busy. They are making money somewhere else. The time that you are going to request, the time which they will have to spend, writing for your reference. Remember, writing is not easy. That one you should know. Writing is not. You need to start thinking, how do I put this English? How do I do this? So you do a template or a sample. When you request, you simply say, sir, find attached a sample. The referees will find it easy to just, okay, change a few things because you have already, drawn, some kind of, you have shaped the recommendation already. Go to Google. How do you write an academic reference, for example? Google will tell you. Okay, you do that trick. It will be easy for referees to support you. I hope that one is fine. Then
Yes.
Another one on
We're talking of the other one is on the English test
the
from
English
Jacob.
test.
Yes.
Okay.
Does TOEFL also is TOEFL also accepted as an English language proficiency?
Yes. The simple answer is yes. But since there's COVID and you are applying at the time there's COVID, I think even now that thing has been waived. So Chevening accepts TOEFLs, it accepts Pearson, it accepts the IELTS themselves. I think they're about 4 or 5. Okay, so you can do any of them. You just have to go and look at the further requirements. For example, what points? If you go for IELTS, it's 6.5. At least during our time, those are the marks, and I got exactly 6.5. Yeah, you see how sometimes it's God. Not sometimes, maybe all the time. Sometimes let's pray. Okay, 6.5, and I went to the UK and I'm back. Okay, some people have to fail the English language. Okay, and for me it's not failing. I think I get to be motivated. The more I fail, the more I get motivated. So maybe for some of you, if you go by that, maybe it will work out for you. Okay, that is about English. So any of the 4, I think if you go to the website, you should be able to find I think about 5. Okay, then sorry, the last question was about what?
Okay, the last question was asking from Rebecca, says, should we be applying for admission at the same time as we are doing the Chevening application?
Perfect. I think when I just took the floor, I touched on that already. Yes, apply at the same time as you are applying for the Chevening Scholarship. The deadline, in our case, I think it was around, Tandio, you can help me on this one, and also Gordon. I think it was around, is it 12th or 6th July? They'll ask you, can you submit an conditional offer, submit English language, submit, I think, I don't know whether the references, I don't know how it works now. I went to the UK in 2018. That's when I got this scholarship. So some of the things could have changed. Okay, but it would be good. We raise up these issues. Probably the colleagues that can help within the meeting. So apply to universities now as you are applying for the Chevening scholarship. Okay, let me allow Tandiwe to say something, Tandiwe Banda, and also Gordon to say something over the questions that have been asked.
Okay, welcome Tandiwe to the meeting. And as she is coming in together with Gordon, I would like them to maybe answer the remaining questions as they are giving their own presentation. Another question from Jacob says, if you already have a master's and mention it in your application, does it jeopardize your chances of being shortlisted for interviews? Then another one says, from Lydia says, does your work experience make up for the minimum requirement when applying for the Chevening Scholarship? Rebecca again says, what are the compulsory Chevening activities being referred to in the application? Yes, those are the 3 questions. So either Tandiwe or Gordon can take up these questions.
Hello, Tandiwe, you can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't pick the last question though.
Okay. The last question from Rebecca says, what are the compulsory Chevening activities being referred to in the application?
Okay, I'll leave that one to Gordon. And the first one was?
The first one is, if you already have a master's and mention it in your application, does that jeopardize your chances of being shortlisted for interviews?
Okay. So basically, I don't think having a master's will jeopardize your chances of being shortlisted for the Chevening. Chevening is about how you are able to explain yourself. So if you have a master's, definitely you need to explain why you need another master's. And perhaps your response is what will motivate people to shortlist you for the interviews or not. But I know of a number of individuals that had masters started within Zambia or even outside Zambia in other countries and still ended up being given the Chevening Scholarship. And one of them is actually a relative of mine who's currently studying under the same scholarship. She had a master's from the Netherlands, and right now she's doing a master's in the UK. So it depends on how you explain yourself, why you really need another master's at that level. Then what was the other question? Was it about the work?
Yes, I think it was coming from Lydia. Yes, does your work experience make up for the minimal requirements when applying?
Yes, actually, the way the Chevening is structured, you actually need to have a minimum of, I think, about roughly 2 years of work experience. So in that 2 years of work experience, most definitely you will have encountered the number of issues that you will need to write on. For example, if you're going to write an essay, or is it your leadership essay, for you to be able to write something tangible, you need to have some experience from your workplace. So work experience counts a lot, and it should be a minimum of 2 years. Now, when I say minimum of 2 years, it doesn't matter whether you've been at one place for 1 year in full-time employment, then you did your internship at another place for 3 months. So whether you did internships for 3 months, 6 months, and so on, all those number of hours that you did for your internship count towards your 2 years of work experience. So you should not be discouraged if you've not been in formal employment for 2 years. But if you've been working, if you volunteered, that still counts towards your work experience. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me check on another question.
Yeah, so I think the last question on that batch was on the compulsory activities for Chevening.
Yes.
Yeah, so those basically you are talking about activities like when you arrive in the UK, there is the welcome event. And also when you are leaving after your studies, there is what is called the send-off or the farewell event. So, and actually you are given some kind of money, some stipend to attend those events. So it's a must that you must attend those events. So don't worry about those. Those will come later. Right now, just focus on applying.
Okay, thank you, Gordon. Something is coming from Phoebe. She's asking, are there alumni willing to mentor through reviewing of the essays for aspiring applicants?
This is part of the mentorship, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I saw one question on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that. Let me, can I? Okay, yeah, from Jonas. Yeah, okay. It was saying, I have heard that some UK universities do not recognize bachelor's degrees obtained in Zambia. How does one get around this challenge? Then the other question was, which universities in the UK do not need IELTS? So Yeah, the first question, yes, I remember there's a colleague of mine who applied to, when I was at University of Dundee, then a colleague of mine applied to University of Dundee, and yeah, they received some kind of a response in line with this question. Yeah, so I think, but again, it depends. Again, with the grading, the grades of your degree, but also after the degree, if you've done any training, any postgraduate training, please make sure that you include all those to your application. Very, very important. Whether it's a certificate or a diploma, it's important that you also include those in your application. But there are a lot of universities that accept degrees from our universities. So maybe there could be one or two unis that may not accept, but I know for sure that most of them, the majority, still accept our qualifications. So that should not worry you.
Okay.
Can I come in on that one?
Yes, please.
So basically, universities in the UK are graded into two. So there are what are called the Russell Group universities, and then what are called the 1994 universities. Now the Russell Group universities are those really old time universities, the prestigious universities. So you're talking about universities like Oxford, Manchester University, and so on. And then there are newer universities. For example, where I was in Sheffield, we have the Russell Group, which is the University of Sheffield. And then there was Sheffield Hallam, which is 1994. So 1994 universities act more like private entities, but they are still state universities. And then the Russell Group are really, if I can say bougie, sorry to say, like bougie universities. And so those are the ones giving the students from not just Zambia, but students from Southern Africa, except for South Africa, a hard time because for some reason the University of Oxford downgraded our degrees to a higher diploma, to be equivalent to a higher diploma in the UK. So it has become a challenge to get acceptance from Russell Group universities, but from any other university, I think it's possible. And then the other thing I think that counts towards you getting accepted, even in a Russell Group university, is your personal statement. Your personal statement. So in your personal statement, you need to be able to sell yourself. So be able to boast a bit on what you've done, regardless of your results at undergrad. At least be able to boast about your achievements at your workplace, what exactly you've done, what you've achieved, and how the course that you selected is going to help you achieve greater than what you've been doing. Or is there a gap that you've identified in your current workplace that you think the master's or the course that you're going to study at that particular university is going to help you to fill up that gap? And so your personal statement is very, very important when you're applying to some of these universities. But ultimately, I think just sell yourself, regardless of whether it's Russell Group or 1994, you should be able to get in, like some of us did.
That's correct.
Thank you. There is a direct message I've received. Someone is asking, is there a site which lists legal UK universities to apply to? I believe these are universities that that one can be able to get the Chevening Scholarship from.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So if you go on the Chevening Scholarship website, you'll find where it's saying partner universities. So there's a list of universities which accept Chevening scholarships. So you find this on the website. This information is there.
Okay. As we'll be concluding soon, there is someone who's asking about, are you given departure allowance after the studies?
So when you arrive in the UK, there's an allowance called warm clothing allowance. Lwendo and Tandy, I'm sure you remember this. So there's that allowance. Then for you to attend those compulsory activities that I talked about, the compulsory events, like the welcome event as well as the farewell event, you're also given some allowance to go and attend those. Then on the departure allowance, Lwendo, do you remember receiving a departure allowance? Tandy? I know of
I
the
think
three that I've talked about.
there is some amount allocated. I just can't seem to remember what it was. But it must be less than what you get when you arrive in the UK. But there is some amount allocated to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but one thing I can, one thing I just wanted to assure applicants is that the stipend that you are given is enough for subsistence in the UK, even to do tours or travels. It's enough. Don't worry about the amount, unless you just live an extravagant life. But some of us coming from humble backgrounds, the money was enough to even to send a small amount of it back home.
Okay, thank you so much. I see Mutinta is asking, is there anyone who has done international development among the alumni? And also one who has been at the University of East Anglia or University of Reading?
I went to University of Dundee.
I'm sure they are there. Or
but they're a lot.
reading, I think we had one in our cohort, but most definitely they are there. So if she's in the applicants group, she can ask me on the side. I have the list of all the Cheveners so far, those that have registered. I should be able to help a bit. Okay, but I will not give you the contact details of the Cheveners. I'll give you the names, but not the contact details. You should be able to find them on social media.
Okay, I believe she can just send you a message on that.
Yes, after this.
Okay. I think one of the few questions that have remained is the scholarship passed on to the next day if you don't get an offer from the university? I think this has been answered in the presentation. Are you able to get the scholarship if you haven't gotten any university offer? Maybe that should be the question.
No,
no,
I think
you don't.
Means, okay. I think she meant, or he meant passing it on. Maybe you get a scholarship and you don't manage to travel, then you ask the commission or the university to pass it on to the next academic year. I thought that's what she meant.
No, I think she's just saying, is the scholarship passed on to the next year if you don't get an offer from a university?
Oh, okay.
Basically, the question is asking if you can defer the scholarship to the following year in an event that you do not get a conditional offer from any university. The answer is no. You forfeit the scholarship.
Yeah. So it's not deferrable. It's not deferrable, unfortunately. You can't defer it.
Okay. We are now.
So the only time you can defer a scholarship is if everything is okay, you have your offers, you get a scholarship, but if you're female, you end up pregnant, so you have that option to defer to the following year, or because you're required to take the TB test and somehow your results do not come out conclusive, or they come out that you've got TB and so on, you should be able to defer to the following year. So those are the only two conditions under which you can defer the chevening.
Okay, thank you so much, Tandiwe, Lwendo, and Gordon. I would ask now Victor from Time for Action if he has anything to say.
Thank you so much, Salome. I think, I believe it was an interesting meeting today, and we have a lot of
Hello,
similar
sorry.
activities. Hello.
Sorry, just a quick one. And I hope the people that have attended this meeting have also joined the WhatsApp a group where people are able to share, few insights on how to go about, these things. And then also, someone asked whether they can contact N1 to help them review the essays and that kind of thing. I think you get help from there. Yeah, you can identify someone, request them. If they have time, obviously they'll help you. Okay, so please join the WhatsApp group. Yeah, if you are interested. Okay, thank you.
They're asking for the link for the WhatsApp group.
Okay, so let me try to get the link and share on the group. I mean on the chat. Let me just as Victor is giving his remarks, I should be able to do this.
Okay, you can go ahead, Victor, as he's looking for the link.
All right, thank you so much, Salome. And if it's possible, we may share maybe the link maybe on Facebook as well, so that maybe those that will be able to watch this presentation on Facebook will be able to as well join the WhatsApp group. And then I just want to thank everyone for coming. As Time for Action, we are trying our best to help a lot of people to have access to these opportunities. Right now, myself, I'm like studying right now in Sweden, and Salome is in Amsterdam. So we decided to come up with this so that at least we can have a number of applicants from our country who will be able at least to have a chance to get this scholarship. At least we'll be able to link you to some mentors and people that will be able to review your work. So please like our page. And if you have questions, you can always ask and you'll be able to answer or link you to someone who will be able to respond to your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Victor. Any last words, Gordon? Under
just
30
to say
seconds?
just to say that the same information you are using to apply for Chevening Scholarship, you can modify it, use it to apply for other scholarships like Commonwealth. Commonwealth scholarships are also open right now. You can use the same information, just modify it, apply for Commonwealth scholarship. Commonwealth scholarship. Actually, that one is even very similar with Chevening, because it's the same UK government which is providing the funding. Then, as Victor has mentioned, you can also apply for other scholarships. There is DAAD in Germany. I know of my colleague who tried Chevening Scholarship and they never succeeded. Used the same information, modified it, applied for DAAD, got the DAAD scholarship. So you can apply for that. You can also apply for Erasmus scholarship. You can apply for Swedish Institute scholarship, which Victor is on. So there are so many scholarships that you can apply for. Then also, if you go to specific universities, then you check within the university, there are also scholarships offered by specific universities. So there are quite a lot of opportunities that you can use this information for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lwendo. Any last words under a minute?
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Okay, maybe my last words would be, okay, so let's put more attention on the 4 themes that where the questions come from. So leadership and influencing, networking, studying in the UK, and finally the career plan. If you need some kind of support, some guidance, join that WhatsApp group. Let's share notes and see how best we can support each other. So remember again, Chevening Scholarship is highly competitive. These people that are going this September, they're just about 13, okay, and thousands have applied. So it's not a joke. You need to really put in your level best. The good news is that it's doable. If we did it, if it is that are going did it, you can as well do it. So all the best. Join the WhatsApp group. Look for people you think you can get in touch. We don't want to promise that we are very much available. We are available. We can support you. We can support you. We can do that. So get in touch with us, and then we'll see how we can help you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Tandiwe, any last words? And I mean it.
Okay, basically all the best to everyone. Chevening has got no age limit. I think I saw that question. My only advice to those that are applying, I think try and also download, I don't know whether it's an app or what, an application or something. It's software called Grammarly. Grammarly will help you with your essay writing. All the best.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a fruitful discussion so far. Thank you to the people that spared their time to share knowledge on how best we can apply as future applicants. And to those that managed to tune in, we appreciate your time. We hope the information that you've gotten today will be able to help. And we are just looking forward